Hey everyone, my name is Courtney and welcome back to my channel. I am here with my liquid courage as always, and today we are going to talk about the books that I read in April and what I'm looking forward to reading in the month of May. I started April in the worst reading slump. After I finished Notes on an Execution, I just had such a hard time getting into another world. Notes on an Execution moved me, it made me cry. It so deeply affected me by how stunning of a story it was. When it came time to pick up Project Hail Mary, I just was not feeling the vibe. But it was due back at the library. I had a whole reading vlog on it, and I was just so determined to finish it before my library hold went out. And I think that worked against me as well, as just this pressure and this timeline to finish reading this book. So that was the first book that I finished in April, and actually my lowest rated book this month, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This follows Ryland Grace. He wakes up in space, and he only deduces that after he roams around this place he's in. He notices that the two people in this room with him are dead, and that he's being taken care of by robots. And he has no memory of who he is, where he is, and how he got there. As he roams around the spaceship that he's on, he starts getting flashes of his memory back, and he remembers, oh shit, I'm on the spaceship and I'm not meant to come back home. And his ultimate task is to research this sort of light-eating amoeba, or space algae they call it, that is sucking up light from the sun. And obviously if the sun gets dimmer, that means bad news for Earth. And so he has been tasked with these two other astronauts to get to the bottom of what is happening. I know that this is a very popular book. My rating is in the outlier. I gave it a 3.75 out of 5. I was really invested in the story for some parts, and then other parts I was just glazed over. Similar to The Martian, this has a lot of science, a lot of math, and I mentioned it in my reading vlog, which I'll link below, but in The Martian, a lot of the science was based in stuff I had an understanding of, like farming. In Project Hail Mary, it's a lot of calculating fuel, calculating distance and time relativity to Earth, and it just became a lot. I was also a little bit put off by the fact that Ryland Grace is very, very similar to the narrator in The Martian. It just didn't feel different enough to me. Ryland Grace is just a little less profane than Mark Watney in The Martian. But when we moved away from a lot of the math and the science, I really was enjoying the story. I thought some of the characters were a little bit flat, except for Rocky. I loved Rocky. As a side character, he's amazing. To me though, actually, he is the main character of my heart with this story. I loved their interactions and what sort of comes to be with that. Obviously, I don't want to say too much. Also though, at the end of Project Hail Mary, I didn't love the ending. It just came together a little bit too neatly, and it wasn't what I was expecting or hoping for with the final outcome of the story. That is Project Hail Mary. For more thoughts, feelings, synopsis, please watch my reading vlog. Moving up the rating scale, the next highest rated book that I had read this month was The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I gave this a 4-star. I really liked this. I have not read any of Simone St. James's other books, but this one sounded so far directly up my alley. We have Shay Collins. She is a blogger with a website called The Book of Cold Cases. She loves true crime, especially cold cases. She loves researching and putting puzzle pieces together, and it really helps her cope with this traumatic thing that happened in her past. While that is her hobby, her day job is working in a doctor's office as a receptionist, and one day this woman comes in and Shay cannot believe it. Her name is Beth Greer, and she was dubbed as the Lady Killer in the 1970s. She was a rich woman living in town. Her parents had both mysteriously died, and then two men had been shot and killed with the same gun, and a witness put Beth at the crime scene at that time. Beth has maintained her innocence. She swears it wasn't her, and she was ultimately acquitted of these crimes, leaving the murder of these two men as a cold case. Shay, of course, recognizes her, does a little following, and against all odds, Beth grants her an interview for her website. We get these alternating timelines with Shay in the present, going to the Greer mansion, this spooky mansion that looks hideous and is full of things from the 70s. Ultimate time capsule, nothing has changed since Beth was a little girl. And then we also have Beth in the 70s, following the death of her parents and being accused of these crimes. There was also a surprise paranormal element. I don't know if I just didn't read deeply enough in the synopsis or I just wasn't paying attention, but the paranormal aspects caught me completely off guard, and I thought it was scary as shit. Like, I was actually afraid one night reading in bed here to go to my bathroom, which is like 20 feet away in my apartment. I thought the paranormal aspect was really well done. I didn't especially love who was responsible for the paranormal elements and how that storyline happened. That is also a source of this major lag in the middle. There is a reveal at right around 50%. So that kind of blows open the whole case. And then the rest of it is just slowly getting to how that person became the suspect. And I don't love that when the reveal happens too early and then it's just a lot of like putting the puzzle pieces together after that. That is why it's a 4-star for me. I really enjoyed the story. The writing was super fun. Beyond that little slog in the middle, I thought the pacing was really fast-paced towards the beginning and the end. And I was ultimately satisfied with the resolution. So that was the Book of Cold Cases. And the third book that I read in the month of April, my highest rated book with 5 stars, was Tender as the Flesh by Agustina Bazterrica. I love this book. I have a whole reading vlog on this as well. It was also the book that I read over my birthday weekend. So please feel free to check that out. I will also link that below for you. Tender as the Flesh surprised me. It was everything I expected it to be and then so much more. In Tender as the Flesh, we follow Marcos. He works at a slaughterhouse, and like the rest of the world, the slaughterhouse has recently gone through a transition because they're not in the business of slaughtering animals anymore. They are slaughtering people. A mysterious illness has made animals toxic to people. They are no longer fit for human consumption, and after a couple of weeks of scrambling, they quickly pivoted to serving up human flesh instead. We follow Marcos through this new world. He hates it. He is so uncomfortable. He has a hard time seeing these people that are being bred and raised and slaughtered for consumption. He has a hard time seeing them as special meat, or the heads, as he has been instructed to call them. He still just sees them as human beings. We're following him through the tanneries, the slaughterhouses, and it's gross. Some of it is so tough to read, especially, there's this detail of pregnant women have their limbs removed because they become so feral trying to protect their children that they just try to injure themselves. So gone with the arms and legs. There are so many images in this book that will be burned in my brain forever. And for as disgusting as it was to read, the writing was just so incredible. She really knew that what she was putting on the page was horrible enough to speak for itself. There aren't a lot of over-the-top descriptions. She's not overly flowery with the gore and the blood, and that starkness really creates a gritty atmosphere all on its own. And along with the people eating and the people slaughtering and the people raising, we also get these little hints of like government and media conspiracy. There are a lot of warring ideologies of people who think that this animal disease is fake and people who think that it is real. I was super fascinated the entire time. I couldn't read it fast enough. I had some roadblocks that week, as you'll see in my vlog, but every time I returned to it, I would just breeze through 25% at a time because it was just such a fascinating ride. So dark, so horrifying. It was so good. Those are all the books that I read in April. Kind of dismal, but you know, if we're following the pattern from the last couple of months where February was a slow reading month, but March was incredible, April was slow, so May will be incredible. This month, I am also planning on participating in Til the Weekend. I cannot remember exactly who is hosting, but I saw that Elizabeth from Reading Riley and Beth from Beth's All Booked were participating, so sign me up. I believe that is happening in the last month of May, but before we get to that weekend, I have a couple of books that I would like to read first. Misery. I know we're all sick of hearing about this. I think I've mentioned it in every single TBR video since I've started this channel, but I will finish this probably tonight actually. We can see I have just about 40 pages left and I love it. The fact that it has taken me so long to finish it is not because I don't like it or because I don't like the writing or the story or anything like that. It has truly just been trying to read all of these library books. And now that I am deeply in the story again, I am loving it so much. There are scenes in the movie that you think are gruesome and the book just takes them 10 steps further. I was reading it just a couple hours ago, like jaw on the floor, shook. I'm excited to finish this tonight. This is a rollover from April's TBR, but I am still really looking forward to reading Brother by Anya Alborn. And I didn't get to start this little series I was hoping to do in April. So May, we're kicking off rereading my favorites, and the first one will be Just Kids by Patti Smith. I haven't read this since college. I am really curious to see if it affects me in the same way now as it did then. And I'm gonna do something a little bit different for that one. This weekend is my first Mother's Day. I am very excited to celebrate, go for a nice long walk with the family, probably go to the farmer's market and things like that. I will be doing a vlog for it. And the book that I will be reading this weekend, probably started right after I finish Misery, will be Linnea Negra by Jasmina Barrera. This is a translated essay on pregnancy and earthquakes. This is a pretty short book. I'm thinking that I'll be able to finish it in the course of the vlog this weekend. And this just sounds so beautiful. I read the first paragraph the other day when it came in the mail, and I already know the writing is going to be stunning. It's an exploration on motherhood, pregnancy, the effects on the body, and just the changes that a person goes through when they have a baby. I know that she mentions a lot of other writers and people that inspired her and their motherhood journeys as well. And I think the back sums it up better than I probably can. And it says, writing through her first pregnancy, birthing, breastfeeding, and young motherhood, Barrera embraces the subject fully, making lucid connections between maternity, earthquakes, lunar eclipses, and creative labor. I love bringing the earth into this process that is literally as old as time, so I really cannot wait to start this as soon as Misery is over. I would also love to start Kin by Keelan Patrick Burke. This I mentioned in my vlog a couple of weeks ago. I went to the bookstore, Bucket of Blood, here in Chicago, and I just picked it up because I have seen some other booktubers that I like mention it and talk about it. It sounded super interesting, and this stranger walked by and he was like, that book fucking rules. So I'm putting my faith in the hands of a stranger, and I would really like to read this. It sounds so creepy. It was described to me as being like the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Once she rides away in the car, she's been rescued. What happens after that? For Till the Weekend, I'm being realistic. I do not have a TBR 5 or 6 books long. In a weekend, I can have anything pop up. So I have 2 books that I'm hoping to read, and they are very short. I'm probably going to vlog that weekend as well. The first book that I'm hoping to get to will be We Need to Do Something by Max Booth III. I bought this the same day that I got Kin, and it is very short. All I know about it is about a family trapped in a tornado shelter during an extreme storm. Just kidding, they're in their bathroom. I love the sort of horror stories where people are forced together and there's really no escape. And so you see the worst come out in people, you see the best come out in people, and I am really looking forward to seeing what happens here. The last book that I am hoping to read for Till the Weekend and for the month of May is Tribesman by Adam Cesar. Earlier this week, Mike, he did a vlog reading some extreme horror books, and this was one of them. And I've never bought a book so fast. This was described as being for people who love those like 80s Italian cannibal horror movies. And honestly, I haven't watched them because just thinking about Cannibal Holocaust and like the controversy around it, I am familiar with the story and everything that happens to the point where I don't feel like I need to watch it. And as I said, cannibalism is one of my biggest horror triggers. So I'm diving right back in with the cannibalism, and this is about a film crew who goes to a remote location hoping to make an exploitation movie about a cannibalistic tribe that is there. And this is about the crew trying to make a movie. Of course, lots of crazy shit happens. The way that Mike described it, it just sounded so fun, so gory, and I really cannot wait to get to this one either. Those are all of the books that I read for the month of April and everything that I'm hoping to read in the month ahead. If you have not already, please subscribe to my channel to see all the fun stuff that I am going to get to in the month of May, especially with all of these books. I think I can do it. I think I can read all of them. But you'll have to subscribe to find out, won't you? And also leave a comment down below. Have you read any of these 3 books? Are there any in May that I should prioritize? I'm curious to hear your thoughts as well. And also please be sure to like this video. It gives me a confidence boost every single time, so I appreciate that too. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy reading and cheers!